They want to eliminate what they call the deep state. The deep state is a cadre of professionals dedicated to honoring the Constitution, the laws of this country, and carrying out the policies of the Congress and the President.
Do you believe a single word of the thing about them? They're a bunch of dedicated people. Have you figured out who the deep state is yet? Have you figured out who the deep state is? Well, the deep state is a government that pretends it's operating under the Constitution. What the deep state is a cadre of bureaucrats, law enforcement, intelligence officials, Congress, the courts, the executive branch of the government, for all we know, the entire Pentagon, working in a submissive secondary role to international interests that want to own and control not only the United States, but also Europe, the Middle East, and the rest of the known world that is producing valuable, useful commodities and food. That is the deep state. They want to control population, the deep state does, by making sure we remain unintelligent, hence their need to control Hollywood, the news, all forms of entertainment, including music. And add to that big tech and social media. The deep state doesn't want to just keep you ignorant. They want to keep you sick as fuck. So they inject us with shit if you allow them. They put crap in our food, GMO. They're going to want to put this mRNA shit in our food. They put chemicals in our food like glyphosate, which is Roundup, a completely awful carcinogenic substance. And it's getting into our food. It's supposed to be a weed killer, but it's getting into our food supply. Right now in the United States Supreme Court, Bayer, that's right, like aspirin, Bayer, a German corporation, owns the company that makes Roundup, glyphosate, and they're being sued, and the Supreme Court is listening. The Supreme Court is being told by the defendants, Bayer, that they should not be held liable and responsible for any poisoning, any damage, any cancer, nothing. They want to be completely immunized. It's a funny word, right? They want to be immunized from lawsuits. And guess who is sending a friend of the court / amicus briefing to the Supreme Court arguing in favor of giving Bayer 100% immunity while selling a chemical known to be carcinogenic and making people sick? Are you ready? The United States government is lobbying on behalf of Bayer Corporation so you and I cannot sue them for being fucking poisoned. That's the deep state. So you're in a government court with government attorneys, and our own executive branch, the Department of Justice and Attorney General's office, is telling the Supreme Court, the legislative branch, don't allow them to be sued. Why would they do that unless they wanted us to fucking be sick? So they want us sick, stupid, and just dead. Plain old fucking dead. So I want to have a civics lesson here today on the deep state. And I want to ask, do you know the 3 branches of the United States government? Well, when I went to school and I studied for the first time as a young man, civics and the Constitution, this would be 1983. I was in 7th grade. And we studied, and I was told it's the legislative, judicial, and executive branches. Those are the 3 branches of government. Well, little did I know, I was completely wrong. The 3 branches of the government are billionaires, pedophiles, and Israel. Any doubts? Who's running the show? billionaires, billionaire corporations and their billionaire masters are telling the government who can and can't sue them. Can't sue the pharmaceutical companies. No, no, no. Take the mandated, but we're not really making you mandated, but mandated Jim Jones juice. Take that mRNA bullshit vaccine, or you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your Social Security, you're going to lose your government benefits, you're going to lose this, you're going to lose that. We're going to take away blah, 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 all that shit they threatened us with. So a lot of people took that shit. Can't sue them. They had the evidence and proof that it was killing everyone and everything they tested it on. They put it in a file and had it sealed by the government for 70 fucking years. It's safe and effective, but you don't get to see the test results for 70 fucking years. I think we've seen enough of the test results, haven't we? Haven't we? Oh, yeah. We've seen plenty of fucking test results. And now we got Bayer and other chemical companies. Can't sue them. People are not coming down with celiac disease, aka gluten allergies. Fucking the American wheat supply is contaminated with glyphosates, Roundup, weed killer, and people, we eat that shit. Have you looked at the box of ingredients or the ingredients on a box of crackers or pretzels or bread or anything? It reads like a fucking chemistry list. Not chemistry 101. It's like chemistry 301. There's some amazing shit in there. I can't pronounce the fucking names, and I have a very good optical to oral translator, right? I read something and I can say it. So the three branches of government, billionaires. Oh, pedophile, the pedophile branch of the government. Bill Clinton being deposed from the comfort of a arts and recreation place. By the way, they didn't want Hillary to look bad being filmed. So they had to have a blue backdrop. She wore a blue dress. She sat at a table, and it had to be a certain color. I think it was white, the tablecloth, so that lighting would bounce and reflect and make her look nice, not give her like dark eyes because the lights were too high. They had someone sit in the chair, and they turned everything on to make sure that it made the person being questioned look as charming and nice as possible. It's a fucking show. It's a shit show. Well, we got a hell of a show, didn't we? We got Bill Clinton looking at the Epstein victims in the Epstein files that have been released to us. And instead of going, this is just awful, I don't know anything about this, he's looking at it, smiling and getting off on it. He's like, oh, yeah, I like this one. His lawyer takes the packet away from him. He reaches over out of the lawyer and pulls it back so he can continue to look at all the little girls while saying, I don't like underage girls. And they're like, just unbelievable. And then frazzle drip Hillary. The psychologists and psychoanalysts are having a fucking field day with her. When asked about frazzle drip, she just kind of, and puts her hands on her face. And they're like, oh my God. Right. From the reports we got from the NYPD describing what's in the frazzle drip movie file is Huma Abedin, who's now, by the way, married to Alex Soros. That's right. George Soros' son is married Huma Abedin, who was married to Anthony Weiner, who's also a fucking pedophile. She's married to Alex Soros. But she and Hillary allegedly were terrorizing a small girl, cut her face off, literally pulled the skin off of her face after cutting around it, and put the face on and then yelled and screamed at this child. Apparently, 9 or 10 of the police officers were so distraught they were either crying or throwing up. And I believe out of the 12, at least 9 of them have committed suicide. They were so disgusted, and the FBI came and took the files, took the laptop, Anthony Weiner's frazzle drip Clinton insurance policy laptop and took it. The FBI has it. Oh, who has all the fucking files that they're erasing and taking and hiding and losing? We don't know. We don't know. The FBI. They're hiding all the pedophiles. They're protecting the pedophiles. They want to control the pedophiles and use the pedophiles, right? Because the pedophiles keeping hot files on other pedophiles, yeah. Right? Not only do they control, them, not only does our government and Israel control, right, their own people, they control everybody with these. These are control files. Okay, so we've gotten through 2 of the 3 government branches. Billionaires, pedophiles, and the third one is Israel. Israel is now becoming the absolute pinnacle, the top of the pyramid, if you will. The top of the pyramid of the Illuminati. Because Israel is a country that believes they're above it all. Israel believes they're superior and that God has blessed them and there's nothing they can do wrong. Read the Talmud. There's nothing they can do wrong. And if they did something wrong, let's just say that upset their God, the way they get out of that is they torture and beat the ever-loving shit out of a chicken and kill it, transferring their sins into the chicken. And that fools God into believing that they're without sin. That's their redemption. So they can go out and murder somebody, go get a chicken, kill it, and they're absolved of their crime. That's their belief system. But Israel, they're God's chosen. I mean, what has Trump done since he was elected? Do me a favor. Go look it up. Go look this up. Are you ready for this? I remember when it happened, it was reported. It was reported. And get all your questions in all caps. It was reported that, the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, John Roberts, before Trump was ready, started having him give the oath of office. So Melania was holding a Bible in her hand. Trump raised his right hand and did not place his left hand on the Bible. And for you, those of you who know this position, he did not assume it. This hand here was at his side. He did not place his hand on the Bible. He did not take his oath to perform the duties of his office as the President of the United States while swearing on the Holy Christian Bible. And then he goes over to Israel, puts on the little Jewish hat, and goes and puts his hat on the rock wall while his handlers, a bunch of Jewish guys, are standing around. This Christmas, what did we have? Fucking menorahs all over the White House and a big party with all of Israel there. And we had Miriam Adelson, who wears Jewish stars all over, right? It's in our fucking face. Giving him $250 billion. It's just too much. It's fucking beyond disgusting. Israel is the other branch of the government. Oh, they can't get their shit straight. Oh, you're going to fucking love this. You're going to love this. Get your questions in the comments, pretty please. You're going to fucking love this, right? Yesterday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio came out and said, right, and I have to paraphrase, folks. I don't have the news story in front of me. I have to paraphrase. Marco Rubio said, Israel attacked, and we knew they were going to attack us back. So Israel attacks Iran, and so we had to attack Iran before Iran could attack us, the United States. That's what happened. Today he comes out, Marco Rubio, and he says, we attacked Iran first. They can't make up their fucking mind who did what. And then Trump comes out and just basically says, hey, same thing. We knew that Iran was bad and we have to attack them. Now, Lynn has this to say. John, I assume you mean most politicians, most haven't placed their hand on a Bible while taking the oath. However, they still said it. Okay, this is why having the Bible there and your hand on it is important. I can lie to you and you can lie to me all day long. There's no crime there. There's no crime. Okay? Politicians and attorneys and lawyers and bureaucrats and government scum are not supposed to lie. But that's exactly what they do. That's why they came up with the oath of putting your hand on the Bible. Sure, motherfucker, you'll lie to me. You'll lie to the rest of the world. You'll lie to America. But you're not going to lie to God. And that's why you place the hand on the Bible. It is a symbol of both morality and accountability. And it's key. It is critical. You can say the words, right? Freedom of speech. I can say whatever the fuck I want. And you can't hold me to it. But if you're a politician and you put your hand on the Bible and raise your right hand, right? No fingers are crossed, right? Your hand is up. You're not crossing your fingers. This hand is up. It's on the Bible. Holy, as in your soul is being held accountable. And you can't hide it and cross a finger or something else that you believe through some sick fucking fantasy allows you to lie to everybody and get away with it. So that's the reason for putting the hand on the Bible. It's to hold them accountable, or at least give us the impression. But, I mean, look at Hillary. They were supposed to have been sworn in under oath. At this point, they're going to fucking hell in the express lane. They don't want to wait in no lines. They're special. Their God is Baal. Their God is Moloch. Their God is Satan. They are evil fucks. But the optics, right? The optics. It's like understanding secret hand signs. Right? The politicians are using a lot of hand signals amongst themselves. I know a lot of these hand signals. I know a lot of symbology because it's something I've studied for years and years and years, well, since the 90s. You can have 2 groups. You can have 5 groups that all have the same symbols. I don't know, stars, circles, the moon or the sun. These all are symbolic of things, right? Clouds, rain, lightning. These are, you can take a picture of them and it's a symbol. But to one group, the cloud could mean fertility. But to another group, a cloud could mean lie because it covers or clouds something, right? That's a picture. But hand signals, they got all kinds of hand signals. And we've been hearing about them, right? And this way and this way, all kinds of hand signals. And if you look through the hole in your, I don't even like to do it because someone's going to go, look, John did the thing where he covered an eye. Oh my God, he's one of them. Fuck off, right? I'm not Israel or a pedophile, and I'm not a, who's the other branch of government? Oh yeah, billionaires. I'm certainly not one of those. Anyways, it's important. Everything is important at this point. Everything's important. A lot of people are asking why Tucker Carlson is not dead yet. Right? He's not dead yet. He is continuing to point out that Israel is behind this, that they're fucking lying, that they caught Mossad agents planting explosives in, well, not in Iran, in like the UAE and Saudi Arabia. They're catching them, folks. They're fucking catching them left and right. They're not as smart as they think. They're not as clever as they think. and they're exposing themselves. This is getting really fucking ugly. And you're not going to hear about most of this. You're not going to hear about most of this even in Fox News or Newsmax or the Gateway Pundit or the Epic Times and the right-wing media. You're not going to catch most of this. The best source that I can now tell you for trying to follow what's going on is X. And it is being covered also, or clouded, if you will, by Israel. Right? What Israel has told the mainstream media, right-wing media, and social media is do not show pictures of all the bombings that have occurred, all of the Iranian bombs that have landed in Israel and are fucking obliterating them. But guess what they have been allowing them to release? Videos of American and Israeli bombs blowing up inside Iran. But guess what they did? They made a big fucking mistake. They released videos of them blowing up helicopters and jets that are on the ground. You know, the video goes to that grainy black and white screen, right? It's basically FLIR in black and white, forward-looking infrared. So you can see through smoke and dirt and all this shit, right? So they show a helicopter on the ground. You know, you see its blades. And the fucking bomb hits it, and boom, it ignites, and bam, blows this dirt cloud, and they're like, yeah, we got him. But you look, and there's a fucking crater in the middle of the helicopter, and the blades are still there. It's like, how did the helicopter not get blown into a bazillion pieces? You want to know why, folks? Same with jets. Same with all of the Iranian jets that are parked out next to the runways. They've got them sighted in. Missile comes in, hits the center of the jet, except then you see the wings and the nose and the tail, and it's still there. There's a crater in the middle of it. You want to know what they're doing? The Iranians are doing 3D painting on the ground. They're painting the ground to look like a helicopter or look like a jet, a fighter jet, so that when they're flying over and they're way up at 30, 40, 80,000 feet, looking for targets, all they see is the visual representation on the ground of a military aircraft. At that height, you can't look under it to make sure it's got wheels, right? They painted the ground realistically to look like helicopters and jets, and they're wasting their fucking missiles shooting these. In other words, they filmed themselves being fooled, and then they released it in the media bragging, and now Iran comes out and goes, yeah, you guys are blowing up asphalt, you dumb fucks. And the President of the United States, is beaten. I don't know if you've looked at it and seen him. He stepped off the stage. He's lifeless, no enthusiasm, despondent, weak, doesn't look like the proud, authoritative winner because things aren't going the way Trump thought it was going to go. Let me tell you what Trump thought was going to happen. Okay, this is important. So we started bombing Friday night here, Saturday morning there. They started the bombing campaign during the daytime in Iran. They thought it was going to be a 2-day obliteration, that they were going to do an executive kill, right? Kill the leadership, kill military and secular or religious leadership, right? They took out the Ayatollah and they took out a bunch of generals, and they thought that would be it, that the people of Iran would rise up and overthrow the government. and that the military would give up. Well, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if Iran hasn't faked a lot of deaths and fooled these fucking people to some degree, because that's what they're basically showing the world, that they're well prepared, way more well prepared for this. So Trump thought, this is why he's despondent, depressed, upset, weakened, humiliated by this, is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesday. We're on day 5. And Iran is still attacking everybody. The United States government is out of missiles practically. They are now taking their THAAD missile system, and the THAAD fucking missiles are even more expensive than the Patriot missiles and the Iron Dome missiles. They're even more expensive. They're like, I don't even know anymore. I'm lost in the fucking numbers. Are they $6 or was it $10 million a piece? Right? The Tomahawks are supposed to be $2 million a piece. The Patriot missiles are supposed to be $2 million or $3 million or $4 million. And these THAAD fucking missiles they're pulling them out of South Korea. Those missiles were in South Korea to protect South Korea. They're pulling them out of South Korea and shipping them to Israel to protect Israel. South Korea, across the border, across the DMZ, the militarized zone, has that little communist Fruit Loop, Kim Jong-un. There's no longer a defensive missile system for South Korea. Kim Jong-un can attack and come across the border with his military and invade South Korea. South Korea, by the way, has voted in a socialist government, if you remember that a few months ago. But other countries are having their missile defense systems that were hosted by the United States government on your tax dollar. They're having them pulled also. The entire Middle East right now, by Middle East, I mean Qatar and UAE and United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. They're having, not only are their missiles being expended trying to stop Iran's missiles, but what's left is being pulled. The naval bases, folks, and the United States government isn't wanting to talk to this, but it's being reported. I am not rooting for Iran. I'm certainly not fucking rooting for Israel. I'm rooting for the United States of America to get the fuck out of there and somehow stop this mess. We shouldn't have been there in the first place. We were told by Trump, no new wars, no more regime changes, no more bullshit. And here we are, eyeballs deep in bullshit, regime change, and a fucking war. But allegedly, apparently, being reported, all U.S. naval bases in the countries just discussed in the Middle East, Kuwait, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia. There's like 8 countries we're supposed to be allied with. All of their naval bases, naval wharfs have been bombed. So U.S. warships have 2 choices, apparently, to refuel and reload, to resupply. One of those is to go to India or go to the Rock. And I don't mean Alcatraz. I mean this extremely remote, extremely primitive, extremely small, but it has an airfield and an airstrip. It's called Diego Garcia, a.k.a. the Rock. They have to leave and sail all the way there. And they take a chance if they want to go through the Strait of Hormuz and the Suez Canal, because then they've got to fly by Somalia. Oh, yeah, Somalia, great fucking place. Yemen. Oh, there's another great fucking place. Right? And you got the Houthis there, all of these people. And guess what they're using as weapons? These cheap-ass motherfucking drones. They cost about $20,000 to make. They've got an unlimited supply of these drones. And so the United States Navy will not go through the Strait of Hormuz right now because they can be attacked. The United States Navy and the President of the United States and the U.S. government all said, hey, look, we're going to do this thing. It's going to be done in 2 days. No worries. But if we have to, we'll use our U.S. warships to escort your cargo or oil containers through the Strait of Hormuz, a very narrow shipping lane that's sandwiched between these fucked up countries, Iran, right, the enemy, and Yemen, the enemy, and Somalia, the enemy, right there. The United States Navy, the United States government is now saying no military escorts. Too dangerous. So they've throttled back 80% of all the traffic going through the Suez Canal, aka Strait of Hormuz. You know who's being allowed to go through there? Friends of Iran. China is being allowed to send their oil tankers or their cargo ships, and a couple of other nations. Everyone else, enter at your own risk. Oh, it just keeps getting better. Questions, comments, thoughts down below. What do you guys want to talk about? Here we go. Do stuff with Nikki. She writes, the problem with Trump, President Trump, the problem with Trump is he can never admit he is wrong. Everything is about him. It's a scary thing, actually. What could once be considered a positive quality is Trump's confidence and Trump's his firmness, his belief that what he was doing was right. And that allowed him to and this is great in business. It allows you to bulldog everyone, just to plow through them with your confidence and your belief and having the facts behind you. And right, and if you have the facts, right, you got the goods, you got the receipts, you can do just that. But when you stand in front of the whole fucking world and go, 2 days, we're going to beat the shit out of him, everyone's going to come to heel. And then he finds out, no, you got bad intel, motherfucker. You don't have receipts. You don't have any confidence. What you said isn't true. And hence he's hanging his head. Shameful. Who got him his intel? Anyone? 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 Gonna hit you guys with the Ben Stein. Gonna hit you with the Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right? Bueller. Anyone? No one. Israel. That's right. Here we go. Back to our branches of the government. Billionaires, pedophiles, Israel. That's the three branches of the U.S. government. Israel said, oh, yeah, we knock them out. This is how you do it. Guess what they said back, 20-odd fucking years ago? Bibi Netanyahu, King Bibi, told the United States government, told Congress, guess what? Oh, yeah, you take out Saddam Hussein and Iraq. You take out Iraq, and the rest of the Middle East will become controllable, easy, right? We'll bring cooperation to the region. Shit like that. Trump won't, sorry about that. Trump will not admit he's wrong. Look, that is the sign of a good leader. You should be confident. You should know what you're fucking talking about. You should be you should bravely stand up for what you believe and follow through and all that. But if you're wrong, see, he won't even do a fucking mea culpa. He won't even come out and say, I was wrong because such and suchity suck gave me bad information. You know why he can't do that? Because then he's got to point at Israel, his bosses, his masters, and say, the reason I'm wrong and the reason we made this mistake was because Israel. Oh, he can't do that. He can't throw his deep state masters. He can't tell the world that the people that have funded his campaign lied to him and bullshitted him. Oh, Bibi Netanyahu is shitting his pants too, folks. He is shitting his pants. Let me tell you a little bit about, there's so much. I don't want to lose my fucking place. I don't have any notes, folks. I'm just going off what I got. I need to talk about two things. Nikki, since you're such a nice, helpful person, I need to talk about uranium yellow cake and enrichment, and I need to talk about force majeure. Those are the two items I need to continue to talk about. Before we do that, I'm going to give you a joke by Mikey G. Trump lost his strength when he cut his hair off. A la Samson. Yeah, that's a Old Testament story of one of God's heroes. He was very strong. He was super Israeli, or I'm sorry, son of Israel anyways, whatever the fuck. You can call him super Jew, whatever. Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, he cut his hair off. Actually, it was Delilah cut his hair. The prostitute that the Jewish champion Samson was fucking on a nightly basis, Delilah. She kept asking him, Samson, what's the source of your strength? What's the source of your strength? What's the source of your strength? No amount of sex, no amount of blowjobs would do it for him. I don't know what she did to finally get him to tell. He said, it's my hair, baby. And she cut his fucking hair off, and then they were able to subdue him and capture him. Whatever. All right. Good joke, though, Mikey. Let's get into enriched uranium. There is a claim that while negotiating with Iran and Israel, the Iranians, we were told, said they had enough enriched uranium for 11 nuclear weapons. Who gives a fuck if you have enriched uranium? It doesn't do you a bit of fucking good. Enriched uranium doesn't mean weapons grade enriched uranium. What it means is, well, it's a higher concentration. That does not make a nuclear weapon. A nuclear weapon consists of a very sophisticated explosive device. The one I'm going to describe is a sphere with the enriched uranium inside of it. Okay. And the sphere is full of explosives. And then it's encased in an incredibly strong capsule. The objective is to set off the explosives and not have it blow out, but blow in with so much pressure that it cracks the nuclear shell, right, on the uranium. And now you're releasing atomic or nuclear energy. Okay, so the uranium, big deal. You need an extremely technical bomb to set it off. Now, in order to put that bomb in a missile, you have to take this bomb and it has to be miniaturized. In other words, it has to be very small to fit inside a warhead, inside of a fucking missile. And it has to be able to be launched and make it there without fucking the bomb components up. In other words, it's highly technical. It's highly technical. You can't just take some enriched uranium and throw a grenade at it and you've got a bomb. It's highly technical. Then it has to be miniaturized. Even if they had all the enriched uranium they would have to make one bomb, make sure it works, right? Testing. And then they have to make a miniature one and test it. In other words, it's going to take years. It's not we're weeks away. It's not we're months away. There still be, even if they had weapons grade enriched uranium, which they didn't, and they even said we didn't. The only reason we started enriching uranium is because you motherfuckers killed the treaty, the non-proliferation, non-weapons, non-nuclear weapons treaty. The United States ripped it up and said, fuck you, Iran. We don't want to do this anymore with you. So like, well, then fuck you. We're going to start enriching uranium. So then they come to the negotiation table and say, we've been enriching uranium. They didn't say we've got enough enriched weapons grade uranium for 11 bombs. They just said, we got enough uranium for 11 bombs, right? Whatever. They're still years and fucking years away. But they rely on the ignorance of the American people and everyone else. Nikki, add European coalition failure to your list. Chin Music says, not sure who needs to hear this, but we haven't won a war since arguably World War I. Maybe I can go through that later. It's a great point to ask, because then you have to ask, well, we fought in Afghanistan, twice in Iraq. We fought, I'm not counting all the secret wars, Vietnam, Korea, World War II. Korea, we fought to a stalemate. And that's why we have a South and North Korea. Vietnam, we abandoned. World War II, arguably, yeah, we defeated the Germans, but what were the Germans doing? They were trying to save their country from being destroyed morally, economically, financially, and spiritually from the inside. They were put in place by American and British bankers. That's right. The Nazis were funded by American and British bankers to stand up against the fucking communists in the Soviet Union. And there was a number of holocausts that were going on in the world prior to World War II. There was the Holodomor, which was the Christian Holocaust in Ukraine, being committed against Christians by guess who? The bad guys. You had the Holocaust throughout the rest of Russia that was being committed by the Bolsheviks, who were, you guessed it, the same bad guys. That was a Holocaust. Do you know about the Armenian Caucasian Holocaust? Once again, an entire people being wiped off the face of the earth by guess who? The bad guys. All before World War II, before we had the Holocaust, which is and has been argued by both independent researchers, historians, professors, and Jews. That's right, folks. There are Jewish survivors of the Holocaust. They were in war camps or prison camps or concentration camps. They survived. They said there's no fucking Holocaust. Scientists, historians, mathematicians have come out and said it's mathematically impossible in the time that those camps existed to kill that many people. It's bullshit. Thank you, Chin Music, for that. I don't want to forget. What am I missing? Nikki, which ones have I missed? European and worldwide coalition. Before we as a country went into and attacked Iraq after 9/11, force majeure, thank you. Okay, I'm going to stick with the coalition and then I'll get to force majeure. I'm going to stick with the coalition. Trump did not build a coalition. President George H.W. Bush got a coalition of the United Nations countries, NATO countries, all around the world and said, here's the evidence Saddam Hussein's an asshole. We want to make sure everyone is on the same team. Let's join together and go kick the stuffings out of Iraq. And they did. After 9/11, they did the same thing. George W. Bush, president, took years to put together a coalition, and it took Colin Powell lying his motherfucking ass off in front of Congress saying they have weapons of mass destruction. They've got chemical and biological weapons. Look at that truck there in the desert, this broken down truck and trailer. That's where they make this stuff, by the way. They put together a coalition and they went in for Gulf War, Desert Storm 2, right? No weapons of mass destruction, but there was a coalition. This time, Israel and Trump got together and said, we're going to go attack Iran. No coalition put together. Are there other countries in this? No. You're not hearing about the Canadians or the Australians. You're not hearing about the Germans or the Swedes. You're not hearing about the Brits or the fucking Norwegians. You're not hearing about the Danes or the Italians or the Spaniards or the French. No, nobody. In fact, now we have countries saying, you know what? Fuck you. We don't support this. And go fuck yourself. Spain just did this. Spain said, you can't use our air bases. You know what Trump said in his fucking arrogance? This is just fucking disappointingly stupid. He said, you know what? If we want to use your air bases, we're going to land on your Spanish air bases, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, now we get it. You're a fucking giant bully willing to convince the rest of the world with your actions that you're going to play this retarded fucking game. You're going to threaten us that you're just going to do what you want and there's nothing we can do to stop it? He's chasing off everybody. They're like, you know what? We don't want a fucking thing to do this anymore. Remember, and I criticized the fuck out of him because he has earned it, the dumbass motherfucking Biden went to Russia and said, we are putting a freeze on your $350 billion worth of U.S. notes. Right? Your notes, your U.S. bonds, frozen. You can't have them. You can't cash them out. You can't spend them. You can't, nothing. Fuck you. They stole $350 billion from Russia. They froze it. So the rest of the world is like, you know what? We don't need to buy these U.S. bonds because what if we piss off the United States of America? Or at least the government in Washington, D.C. There's a difference, right? You got Washington, D.C., and then you have the rest of the country, the United States of America. But the U.S., the United States, is a corporation in Washington, D.C. The United States of America is the rest of us. So the rest of the world looks at the United States government and says, we don't need to buy your fucking bonds. We don't know if we're going to do anything to piss you off. So Spain just proved that now they can be punished by the United States of America. And Trump is now proving what Biden did has nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans. It has to do with who's controlling the government of the United States of America. Billionaires, pedophiles, and Israel. And if you do anything to piss them off, they're going to fuck you over. In other words, the United States is choosing as its primary and sole ally Israel and telling the rest of the world, go fuck yourselves. We're going to do what we want, when we want, how we want, and you can't fucking stop us. Do you think India is going to like it if Iran starts sending fucking missiles and starts taking out their ports? They'll tell the U.S. Navy, get the fuck out of here. Oh, folks, it's there's a good chance that shit's going to happen. Yankee Watchdog says, sounds like we're biting off more than we can chew. Exactly. Exactly. I want to get this in. Chin says, as a kid, I had a friend that always got me in trouble. We all had a couple of those friends, right? I needed my baseball scholarship. so that I ended that relationship. He needed his baseball scholarship to go to college, you bet. So in order to not get in trouble anymore, you get rid of the bad influences so you can live a better life. All right, this is Chin's admission that, you got in trouble a lot, but it's time to leave that shit behind. Get rid of the bad influences. So he says, as an adult, I feel the same about those you aren't supposed to notice. In other words, as an adult, I feel, right, the same about Israel. They are the friend that is doing nothing but getting the United States government, and by extension, us, the taxpayers, in trouble with the rest of the fucking world. Well stated, Mr. Music. I appreciate it, man. That's a great fucking example. Right? And look, I did the same thing. I went in the Marine Corps. I got out of the Marine Corps and I started running into old friends, and they're like, let's go do stuff, John. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not a fucking kid anymore. I don't need to get in trouble. I'm an adult. I need to grow up. I need to start business. I need to get into, right? And you just get rid of the friends that get you in trouble. So when Chin says, I feel the same about those you aren't supposed to notice. And we are not supposed to notice the Israelis and everything they're doing, except it is becoming more and more and more obvious. So force majeure, let me talk about that. Over in the Middle East, there are governments and corporations that turn natural gas into liquid natural gas, and then they put it in liquid natural gas tankers and ship it to countries around the world, and that's how they make their money. That liquid natural gas system has now been compromised because it's being bombed by either Israel or Iran. Either way, those companies, one of them produces 20% of the world's LNG. The country said, force majeure. We cannot deliver at the prices, in the quantities, in the time frames as required by our contracts. So let's just say Company A has a contract with Japan. They just called Japan today and said, force majeure. It's out of our hands. It's beyond our control, whether it's government or weather or whatever. It's destroyed the system. And that allows them to get out of their contracts. They can't supply it. They can't supply liquid natural gas because of the fucking war. So now there's countries around the world, countries and companies saying, we can't deliver, and countries are like, fuck, we're not going to get it. The price has skyrocketed on LNG, natural gas. Worldwide fucking price, I think, doubled in like a day. There's an aluminum manufacturing, producing, whatever the fuck, right? Company or country that said, we can't supply. We've been damaged. We're fucked up. We're in the wrong part of the world. They're calling force majeure. We cannot supply the amounts, the specifications at the dollars that we said we could, and the time frames that we said we could get it done. Sorry, our contract is now null and void. Done. Since 2016, the end of it, I've talked about the usefulness of silver. It's the fact that it's undervalued, that there are mining deficits, there are ore grade deficits, there's exploration deficits, permitting deficits. Nobody's making more of it, and they finally did it. For the last 6 years, since 2020, they have demanded more silver than they produced. So they've been using more silver than they produce on an annual basis, meaning stockpiles and reserves around the world have been consumed. So about a month ago, the world that is invested in silver, both physical, ETFs like PSLV, don't buy SLV, according to many experts, buy PSLV because they actually have the silver in their vaults. But you've got the COMEX, you've got the PSLV, SLV, you've got all these vaults, right? Anyways, the price had been getting shorted, naked shorted, holding it down. About a month ago, JP Morgan decided to go long. They have in their vaults, JP Morgan is vaulting about 700 million ounces of silver. In a world where we're not producing as much as being demanded. And by the way, all the military weapons they're blowing up, they have anywhere from 100 to 500 to undisclosed amounts of silver, ounces. 550 fucking pounds of silver in one tomahawk. And they depleted all of the weapons practically. Okay, silver is a small percentage of what it costs to make one of those weapons, but they're going to demand. And, oh fuck, that's another story I got to bring up. Nikki, I need to talk about Raytheon. Okay. I'm abusing Nikki because Uman isn't here. Okay, back to force majeure. So JP Morgan has gone long in paper, and they have a vault full of fucking silver, the most single biggest vault of silver on the planet. There's not enough silver being mined. Mines are being shut down in Mexico because of these fucking crazy cartels. Whoops, did we forget about that? And then other mines are being shut down. They're not exploring. They're not finding it. It's not available. They don't have the equipment. Okay, but wait a minute. The silver price has been getting hammered down again. It shot up to 120. They knocked it all the way down to 65. It came all the way back up to 96. They knocked it back down to 79. It's right now wherever the fuck it's at. They keep holding it down. Oh, it's right now it's at 83.76. 83.76. Earlier today it was 87. They knocked it back down. How? JP Morgan isn't shorting anymore. Oh, they brought in a company that is notoriously a short-selling sack of shit company. They are knocking the price down with their naked shorts so that JP Morgan and other companies that are long, they have open interest stocks so they can get physical delivery of what's left in the vaults. My conclusion, and don't use this as trading advice, investment advice, that's not the point. It's to understand that they're draining the vaults. The vaults have been draining. COMEX is almost out of silver. And when they are 100% out of silver, when banks like Citi and Bank of America, or especially JP Morgan, stand for delivery and they get the last deliveries on, they get to declare force majeure. And anyone with paper silver contracts in the COMEX can pound fucking sand. In other words, the music stops and there's no chairs. Everyone with paper silver gets paid back by COMEX, not the market price. They get paid back whatever the fuck the COMEX says that paper is worth. And I know that paper is worth $0. But they may give them $40 a share, even though they paid $70, $80, $90, $100. Who knows what they're going to get paid? When force majeure strikes, you're out of fucking luck. Now, the reason that, I don't know, the COMEX isn't getting silver, what little is available delivered in, if you were a silver miner in Mexico or Peru or Bolivia or fucking Chile or Australia, why would you sell your silver to the COMEX in New York and Chicago for $84 an ounce when you can sell it directly to end users for 110, 120, 130? Right. They're not going to deliver silver at a fucking 40 and 50% discount when they can sell it right to the end users. In other words, the fucking market's destroyed. These people have destroyed the market. Oh, by the way, there are lawsuits for what's being done. Those are going to take years to play out. The United States government, by the way, isn't the one doing the suing. Oh, fuck. Right? They're standing for delivery. I can't stand for delivery. You can't stand for delivery with the comics. Only authorized participants. Authorized participants are allowed to stand for delivery. Everyone else, go fuck yourself. It's just paper. You're buying a piece of paper. Raytheon, thank you, Nikki. One last move. Raytheon and other high-tech, high-end weapons manufacturers that are making the Israelis rockets, they're making the Patriots, the THAADs, surface-to-air missiles, I'm sure fucking Stingers, all of these missiles. The United States government is being reported as having emergency meetings with Raytheon and other military industrial contractors, right? The military industrial complex, those contractors, the MIC, are meeting with the White House and the Pentagon because they're like, we need production. They're like, we don't have any money. You haven't paid us. You don't have contracts. How can we make the missiles you need? You thought you had 10 years worth of fucking missiles. You found out in 2 motherfucking days of attacking Iran that you don't have enough. You didn't plan for this. Between and don't forget all the fucking weapons they sent over to Ukraine, my friends. Our government is sitting there naked. Trump has had his fucking pants pulled down and spanked. Someone wrote in here, and it was a good one. Where the fuck is it? Sounds like we're biting off more than we can chew. No, that wasn't the one. That's a good one, though, too. There it is. Lynn. His, meaning Trump's cabinet, is once again leading him astray. It's the blind leading the blind. It is the billionaires, the pedophiles in Israel telling everyone how easy this would be. It is all of them going and saying, yeah, Trump, you got all you need, man. We can do this. Woo, we got it. Meanwhile, the Pentagon throws him under the bus, Trump, and says, we told you. We told you we're not ready. We told you they don't have weapons of mass destruction. We told you not to do it. And Trump did it anyway. And then he blamed Iran. Then he blamed, he's blaming everyone except he's not taking responsibility, not admitting he's wrong. And look at the fucking trouble we're in. Mikey G says, Desert Storm saved Kuwait. I understand. When you obliterate the opponents, you get to claim victory and then write the history. They write different history in different countries. You know what they're saying in Afghanistan? That they kicked the ever-loving fuck out of the Army and Marine Corps. And that we turned tail and ran. And that's why they have all of our military equipment. HIMARS, thank you. We got HIMARS missiles, the THAAD missiles, the just all of them. All of these super expensive. And Yankee Watchdog says, yeah, now the American people are stuck holding the bag. Yeah, we get the fucking bill. And the rest of the world hates us. And I pray that these idiots around the world that have missiles and hatred, they understand that the problem is Washington, D.C. And I know Putin understands that the American people are not the problem. The problem is Washington, D.C. The problem is Tel Aviv. The problem in Europe is not the individual countries. The problem in Europe is the European Union based out of Brussels. London is a problem also. Mikey says, do a little metal detecting at explosion sites. The problem is, dude, that silver is vaporized in the explosion. Otherwise, it would count. Now, I want to do one last thing, and I'm going to call it a night with you guys. Darcy T sent a message. And says, so now it's Ecuador, drug boats. The Technate map of 1940 is coming to fruition. What she's referring to is a plan. A very old plan for world domination. Okay, a world plan for domination. It's not a new thing. The New World Order is not a new thing. I can't get it to pop up correctly. Thank you, Darcy, for that. Right, we have the 2030 plan. We've got this plan. Another plan is population replacement, white people replacement theory. Call it Christian replacement theory. It's replacement theory. The purpose and point of replacement theory is to replace us with these low IQ fucking idiots so they can destroy the country. That's part of Israel's plan. Israel and Israelis have admitted. In fact, I read it the other night. Benjamin Bibi King Netanyahu himself explained what they do. They will suck us dry, cut us into a bunch of little pieces, and destroy the country. They're not our friends. They're not our allies. They're not our greatest ally. The rest of the world is getting fucking sick and tired of this shit. And they're backing away from the United States of America. They're selling. Japan is selling the U.S. bond. Look at the U.S. Look at the dollar to bond ratio. Dollar to yen. Right? We're going to have trouble. Oh, shit. One more fucking item. See, there's too much going on. This is all from memory. I think the South Korean stock market and other stock markets have crashed. They've gone down. They limited out. They shut out. They killed the trading because they dropped too much. Funny, when silver drops 15 fucking % in a day, 30% in a day, they don't stop that. Cocksuckers. Because they need to steal the silver cheap. Let's continue. They can short the fuck out of everything in the U.S. markets. Not just silver, but everything else. They keep the price down so low so they can buy it up. Meanwhile, we can't produce more because there's no money in it to do what's needed to build a commodity chain. But get this. China, Turkey, India, and other countries have now looked at the people who are doing naked shorting and they've kicked them out of their fucking exchanges. They're not allowed to trade because it's stealing. It is market manipulation that hurts the investors in those countries. So I'm just going to tell you a couple of names. South Korea, China. It's not China. It's Shanghai, India, and now Turkey have said, you short-selling motherfuckers are not allowed in our country anymore. Meanwhile, in the United States of America, the federal government, the Security and Exchange Commission, the SEC, and the CFTC, Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, have decided they don't need any lawyers, any enforcement on all the short selling. Fuck it, just let them run wild. In other words, they're doing exactly what Bibi Netanyahu said to do. Remember, our country is run by billionaires, pedophiles, and Israel. The billionaires and these billionaire finance corporations are sucking the life out of us. They're sucking us dry. Just like Bibi Netanyahu said, then they'll divide us up. They'll butcher us up, cut us up into little pieces, and sell us off. Tell me they haven't sold off the American manufacturing process and complete system. From mining it out of the ground to processing it and making it into finished products, they've completely destroyed technology supply chains and commodity supply chains in the United States of America. And right now, they're in the process of finishing it off. All the markets around the world are going down, but today the American stock market went up. How the fuck did that happen? The Dow was up 238. Well, by the way, Pam Bondi, she said we hit 50,000 on the Dow. We don't need to worry about pedophiles and billionaires in Israel. Oh, those are the three branches of government, yeah. Well, the Dow was down to 48,500. 1,500 points below 50K on the Dow. Did she start up the investigations? Nope. I'll finish with this. I know I've gone long. I apologize. This is why we need man. He keeps things on track. Nikki says, I don't like being negative. Neither do I. Especially in my current situation, which no one knows about. But I fear things are about to get really, really bad economically. we could see another 2008 moment. Credit card debt, auto loan debt, mortgage debt, credit card debt, student loan debt. Hi, everybody. That's a lot of debt. Meanwhile, we have crooked fucking finance companies. You remember FTX? Sam, very Jewish sounding name, Bankman-Fried. Take a look at him. He's got the phenotypes, right? Committed tons of fraud with what, $50 billion? Compared to some of these other companies, he's a fucking small fish. They let him burn. But yeah, Jane Street. Look up Jane Street and what they're doing. All these big banks, they're here to fuck us. And guess what they will do before you even know about it? Oh, by the way, they're already selling off their commodities. I think someone just sold a shit pile out of Palantir. They're going to crash the market. At any one point, they're going to stop the music after they've sold their shares, and they'll go short all the big banks. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, JP Morgan, private investment institutions, Morgan Stanley. They'll go short. They'll short the fucking market, cause the crash to start. It'll trip all the other shorts. It'll trip the fucking liquidate. It'll trip the fucking long. It'll trip everyone who is leveraged, and it'll cause a cascade and shit sale. And guess who's going to be there making money as it goes down? You see, money doesn't disappear off the stock market. It does not evaporate and go away. It gets cashed out. So Bank A makes money as the stock market falls, and that money doesn't catch on fire and burn. It just gets taken out of the stock market and put in their bank account. They sit on cash. Warren Buffett is sitting on, I think, $360 billion. This is one guy. This is Berkshire Hathaway. $360 billion in cash. Well, it's not necessarily cash. He's, I believe, short-term U.S. bonds. So he's getting a little bit of interest on it. Actually, he's getting a lot of interest. And they'll wait and they'll crash the fucking market. We'll all lose our fucking 401ks, our IRAs, our Social Security, our private pensions. All that shit will get fucked over. Not that the U.S. government takes our retirement money it collects at the point of a fucking gun and puts it in a lock box, if everyone remembers Al Gore. No. We get fucked. We get a haircut. It's more like a fucking front-to-toe shear. We'll lose, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, 80%. And then these banks and Berkshire Hathaway will just buy back at pennies on the dollar. And they'll buy the copper mines and the zinc mines and the lead mines and the silver mines and the gold mines and the agricultural production companies and the fucking tech stocks. Anything that has real value, they'll buy it at pennies on the dollar. While you and I are out here holding our fucking dick in our hand going, what the hell just happened to us? Read Bibi Netanyahu's quote. They're going to suck us dry, going to chop us into a bunch of little pieces and sell us off. Leave us for fucking dead, and then they'll move on to the next country. Because that's what Israel does to countries they hate. And who are they hating now? America, Canada, Japan, Australia, Europe, England, and they fucking hate Russia too. But guess what? Russia, like Homie the Clown, he don't play that. Russia won't let their bankers in. Chance favors the prepared mind. I need a scotch. God bless America. Get prepared, folks. Get prepared.